Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Ocean's Pit, a little show about big things. Today is Friday, September 30th. It's the last day of the month, folks. Cooling season is changing, of course, we know. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great week. We had a great week, folks, and I'm glad you guys are tuning in today. Today's going to be a short show, and it's actually going to be a little tribute to a friend of mine who just passed away yesterday, my good friend Joe Nasca. And we'll get into some history with me and Joe. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in today. Usually this show is laughs and jokes, but it's a serious show today, and way to show my love to my friend who passed away. But before we get on that, folks, check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com, and give us a call at 847-769-8609 to book a show, folks. I want to thank every sponsor that is involved with Ocean's Pit. Roy McCampbell Law Group, attorney at law, a statewide law practice that is client-focused and results-driven. Give Roy a call if you're looking for a good lawyer, folks. 708-275-4664. Laura Ocean Solutions, of course, my wife's credit card processing company, increases profits while reducing credit card fees. Go to lauraoceansolutions.com. Sal at Deutsch Power Center out of Elgin, Illinois. They're serving to the construction and diesel industry for the last 100 years. So give Sal a call at 224-276-6550. Folks, let's not forget Don Esteban Cigars out of Tarpon Springs, Florida, which I guess he's doing okay over there from last time I called, because checking in with the people from Florida. So get those hand-rolled cigars delivered right to your home. Call Javier at 727-366-7536. Airtight Windows, my buddy Lou from Airtight Windows from Berwyn, Illinois. Siding and specialist, family owned for the last 30 years for honesty and quality. Do it right with Airtight Windows. That's 708-788-5000. Airtight Windows, folks. And don't forget Trico Hair Experts, recreating great hair days for men, women, and children out of Rosemont, Illinois. Anthony and Carmela, 773-999-7888. Now, folks, there's also different ways that you can see the show. Obviously, if you've been watching the show regularly, you kind of know how to see it. You're watching it right now on the Tony Ocean Facebook page. Excuse me. It's also on the Mo Carrara page. You can subscribe and check us out on YouTube every day, folks. Subscribe to the channel. You can find us on Twitter as well. And now we're proud to say, folks, that we are every afternoon. You can see us on LinkedIn, and then you can watch the show all the time, because even though you can't maybe watch it because you're at lunch or you're working and stuff like that. So Monday through Friday, the show is the same. I want to thank a couple of guests we had on today. Yesterday, my wife was my co-host, and that's always my favorite time with my wife. We have a lot of fun with that. I want to thank everybody that showed up to Moretti's last night in Edison Park. Emo, thank you. I want to thank Emo. Let's get to some people I want to thank today, folks. But hi, Tony. Sorry for your loss. Prayers to Joe. Yeah, thank you, Christine. Thank you, Patrice. Emo, Peanut, thank you so much. Carol, everybody. Tony, Jerry, man, Felicia, Laurie Stevens, thank you, buddy. It's sad when you lose a dear friend. It really is. Again, thank everybody that showed up last night to Moretti's in Edison Park. Billy McFall and the staff doing a great job there. The general and his crew, of course. Thank you, Dave Zamel and Dave Antonelli. Marty Malarkey, of course. I want to thank Joni Burke, who put this bachelorette party together, and Linda was getting married, so they had the party where I was performing last night. So it was a big event, big turnout. She had about 35, 40 ladies there. They were dancing all night. So they had a good time. And Linda, who was getting married, she was engaged for 26 years. So finally her fiance, Vince, proposed, and so they'll be getting married. So thank you so much for that. Tonight will be at Chicago Prime Steakhouse with Jerry Jams Renda, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow I have two shows, The Broken Oar in Antioch with Mojo's Jukebox, my rock band, from 2 to 6. And then I'll be with Jerry Jams at Lucky Lulu's in Prairie Grove. That's from 8 to 11. It's a gaming restaurant, deli type place. So food and drinks, and you could gamble. So that's tomorrow. 2 Rat Pack shows that are coming up, folks. Sunday, October 9th, will be at the Lyric Theater on the south side of Chicago, 12952 Western Avenue in Blue Island, Illinois, folks. Ocean's Rat Pack, Sunday, October 9th. Doors open at 4:30. 5 o'clock is dinner. 6:30 to 6 to 7:30 is the show. I think they're sold out, but I'm not quite sure. You might still be able to get tickets. You can call 773-594-0398. Or you can go to the www.lyrictheater.com and get tickets for Ocean's Rat Pack, Sunday, October 9th. If you're on the north side, up near the Wisconsin area in Kenosha, October 15th will be at the Kenosha Wyndham Hotel. That is a Saturday night, folks. $10 in advance, $12 at the door. Go to what'shappenings.com for tickets. And you can call 708-972-0700. That's Ocean's Rat Pack, twice, 2 shows in the month of October. All right, so losing a friend is not easy. I've lost a few the last couple years. Mr. P, Tony Shark LaBarbara, my buddy George Tark. And when you lose friends like that, the people that were part of your everyday life, it's not an easy thing. You know, you lose acquaintances, that's one thing. I mean, it's bad, it's sad, and everything like that. You see them, sorry. But when you lose people that are part of your everyday 9 to 5 life of some sort, because you're either talking on the phone or you're visiting or whatever you're doing, it's you're losing a family member. I mean, I know a lot of people that are friends are closer than the actual family members. Just because your blood doesn't make you, technically your family, but it doesn't mean that you're all getting along. So I've known Joe Nasca and his brother Mike, his twin, who passed away many years ago as well, from high school, Elmwood Park High School. We were all kind of in that same boat. At least me and Joe were kind of the class clowns, the outcasts. When you're in high school, there's like those certain groups that you get the jocks and you get the druggies and you get the people in the middle that doesn't fit in any of the categories. Me and Joe and Aska were probably the 2 last pick for gym. That kind of thing. We weren't that close in high school. We hung out, we seen each other, but kind of thing like that. And Michael, his twin brother, actually, we all hung around, but it wasn't like we were hanging as we did later on in years after high school. It's funny how we reconnected again. I was doing the Festa Italiana in Milwaukee when Ron Onesti used to have the Festa Italiana in Milwaukee. And I haven't seen Joe since high school. So Joe's in line with his wife and his friends, and they're coming to see the Rat Pack. But they don't know who the Rat Pack is. It just says Chicago's Rat Pack. That's what we were called back then. Now we're called Ocean's Rat Pack. So we're backstage ready to go on, and then Joe somehow got backstage, and he goes, "Mo Carrara?" I go, "Joe Nasca?" He goes, You're in the Chicago Rat Pack?" I go, "Yeah, I play Dean." And from then on, that's how he did it. He snuck his way back just to see who the Rat Pack were. And at that time, it was Lonnie Parler as Sammy, Jack D'Amico as Frank Sinatra, and yours truly as Dean Martin. So we didn't know who was in the Chicago Rat Pack. There was pictures, but we had wigs on, so we didn't know, you know what I mean? So he snicks around the back, and he taps me on the shoulder, like I said. He goes, "You, Mo Carrara?" I go, "You, Joe Nasca?" And after that meet, we were inseparable ever since. Um, we had a group of guys. You know, when you're hanging with your posse or your crew or your entourage, we had like 20, 30 guys that would meet every Wednesday or Thursday at all my Tony Ocean gigs. And there was a bunch of us, Buddy and Sammy and Aunt Casano, and it was Sonny and cousin Tommy Vena, Joe Nasca, Eddie Leza, Jimmy the Hammer. We had names for everybody, and it was a crew. They'd come to my gigs, and we'd get drunk and get in trouble, and go out and do things that at that age, folks, we shouldn't be, we're doing stupid things, but we were going out all the time and we were together all the time. I was pretty blessed to have a good crew like that. And Joe was part of that crew. And he always made you laugh, and he was always talking about food. He was always talking about different stuff. And he was a truck driver for a while, I guess. But I guess he had an eye problem, so he had to stop driving his truck. And he wanted to open up a restaurant. So a breakfast type restaurant. I think he opened like 2 or 3. And they were like in the Antioch area. And we would go there, bust his chops, when he'd be busting his butt, getting up in the morning and cooking breakfast for the people in that town. And, people in the Antioch area, they're kind of more laid back. And then all of a sudden, us guys come in there and terrorize the place. So we terrorize Joe all the time. The poor guy's trying to do business, and we're giving him shit all the time. But we'd have a lot of fun. Every year, me and Joe would actually go to the zoo together because none of my friends liked the zoo. My family didn't give a shit about the zoo, when you were little. But I love animals. I still do. So I'd still go to the zoo. But Joe would come. The last time we went was 2018. And after Joe, for a long time, Joe was Joe, going out, having fun, running his restaurants, doing what he was doing. Then he got a divorce. And it kind of hurt Joe when he got a divorce, I don't know if divorce is not good for anybody. But he was there through all my marriages. I was there for his. And it was just a camaraderie that you just have. Well, through the years, Joe ended up putting a little weight on. Joe through his whole life would lose weight, put weight on, lose weight, put weight on, lose weight, put weight on. When you're working in a restaurant like that every morning, you just can't help it. And then he got a little heavy, and he started getting sick, with his COPD, which, of course, we know. I know a lot of people that have COPD. My mother-in-law, Dee, has it, and unfortunately, sometimes it hurts her just to go to the bathroom. The energy when she gets up and goes, by the time she sits back and down, it's like she ran like a 50-yard marathon, COPD is a horrible thing. And Joe had it pretty bad. And for a long time, he would, wear the tank. And he'd still go out, man. He'd still go to concerts. He would still go out. He'd come see me perform. When we went to the zoo together, he came, he had the hum around, whatever, that thing, and he had his tank. We can only stay for 3 hours or 4 hours because that's how long the tank lasts before he's got to go back and go into his car and charge it so he can go home. Then he was living in Wisconsin, in Wakanda, in that area. But it didn't stop him from going out and having a good time. He came to a lot of my shows. He came out to, he was still coming out for a long time. 2018 was the last time I think he was actually out, still going out, if I'm correct. I remember he came to Mars in Lake Geneva. He'd come every summer, and it would be hot sometimes because it would get hot sometimes when we played there, so we'd have to sit in the restaurant because it was cooler. But remember, he was with his tank in a wheelchair. And then I remember he came to the Lake Geneva concert in the park in 2018. He came out there. So after 2018, and started dwindling. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And then he was in different rehab homes trying to lose weight. He tried. He'd make an effort to try and eat the right foods. They put him on a diet, lose this. And he would always be busted chops with the nurses. We even had him on the show here once when he was actually from his bed, from his room. And we had his nurse on, and she would tell us about, the certain foods that people eat, and how Joe sometimes, gives her shit and busts her chop all day long. So Joe was always the type of guy that just liked having fun, and we had a very warped sense of humor. A lot of things that we thought were funny necessarily didn't mean everybody else did. But our crew was kind of had our own little sense of humor, and you guys know that because you guys all probably have your own crews as well. You know what I mean? But that's the great part about Joe. He was a great guy. And then, of course, when he lost his brother Mike, his twin brother Spike, that crushed him too. And I didn't know Carl. He had another brother, Carl. I had Carlo on the show. And Carlo was a couple years older than I was in Elmwood Park High School. I put out a couple pictures on Facebook of us. And there's a picture of me, Sonny, and Joe's mom, actually. I mean, this is going way back when his mom was still alive. And there's pictures of all of us hanging out and having a good time, because that's what we did. I think 2017, 2017, our friend Eddie Leza got married. And Joe was there with his chair and his tank. And we're sitting at the table. Me, Joe Schmecka, Eddie Leza, was all of us sitting at one table. I think Sonny couldn't be there, or Tommy Cousin couldn't be there. So we're sitting at the table, and it just so happened that there's a priest sitting at our table. Eddie Leza put the priest at our table. He sat the priest at our table. This poor man had no shot from the minute he sat down. So, every joke, every, this, every that, it was just, we were laughing our ass. And the priest was laughing too, because, you're seeing all these guys, these grown-up acting like kids. And we'd have a ball. And at one particular time, there's a picture you can see that the priest is sitting right here, and Joe is sitting in front of me, and he's talking, and he's got his air tank on, and he's in his chair. I come up from behind him, and while he's talking, he's got the air on, and I take his air thing, and I'm going like this, And Joe's going, like pretending like he's choking. And the priest is sitting right next door at the table laughing with us. I go, come on, priest, say something. But we would just have so much fun joking around. I remember one time Joe was at his restaurant, and he was cooking on one side, and we took all the tables and chairs from the restaurant, and we put them on top of his car. So he never got a chance to go into the other side of the room. And when he went around to the other side, we were saying goodbye. We said, bye, Joe. He walked us out, and all the chairs and furniture were on top of his car. Oh. It's times like that, when you... Yeah. It was just fun, and we loved each other, all of us, our crew. And I would talk to Joe at least once a week when he went up to Wisconsin. I tried to visit as much. I think I visited only a couple of times because, you get busy and stuff like that. But we did talk a lot. And Joe used to watch the show all the time, which was kind of cool. I'd always say hello to Joe when he'd watch the show. So that was fun when he did that, and he would check in. But he was moving from rehab center to rehab center. And, and his conversations, like I said, we'd at least talk once a week. Hi, Joe. Joe Schmeck, how you doing, buddy? You and Renee. Buddy, we know we were all there. Sonny, Cousin Tommy, Eddie Leza, Casano. We were all there, guys. Jimmy Hammer. I mean, little Sammy. Remember, the crew that we had was just untouchable. We had an untouchable. Tony Navarro, all of us. Untouchable group that no one can get into this group. That's how tight we all were. And towards the end, in the last few years, of course, I'd call Joe, what are you doing? Nothing. Watching TV. He couldn't leave his bed. He put on more weight. was harder for him to breathe. Sonny would go there a lot more often because Sonny lived closer. Dave Gorelli, Sonny, would go up and see him more. We even started a GoFundMe page for Joe. I remember he had a house that he rented out to people, but then when the pandemic came, they were squatters. He couldn't get these guys out of that house. So, when your friend's in need, you try to help as much as you can, whatever you can give, time. But sometimes it's just reaching out and talking to them. Sometimes that's all they want to hear is the talking. What's going on? And then when I would call them, hey, what are you doing this week? And I would tell them where I'm at and what happened at the shows. And it's almost by telling them that, two things. One way it makes him sad because he's not there with us, but another way it keeps him alive with what's going on with everything. And then he was a big social media nut. He was on social media all the time, and he'd be watching Ocean's Pit all the time, So so I talked to him maybe 2 weeks ago, actually. What's going on, Joe? Can't take it anymore. I just can't imagine, ladies and gentlemen, someone. I'm going to be 60. I think he's maybe 59. I think almost the same age. I just can't picture somebody at any age, but that particular age, most of his last years of his life sitting in a bed. I mean, like I said, from 2016, 17, 18, he was still in his hum around with his tank, still going out, still participating in life and still doing stuff. But then it all ended. Of course, it got worse. And I think also what might have got worse is he just gave up. And the mind, as we all know, the mind can really fuck you up. When you're in that bed and that's all you're doing, you see these nurses and people coming to you and they're bringing you this and your food and your shots and you're poking this and poking that, and whatever they have to do to keep upkeep between probably washing and when he goes to the bathroom and all that stuff. It's got to be harder for someone at an older age compared to somebody that's 50, almost 60 years old. I mean, it's still old, but not that old. You know what I'm trying to say? And so we would talk about movies, we talk about shows, we talk about what's going on with different people in our lives. And don't worry, Joe. We'd always say, don't worry, Joe. You're going to get out and you'll be back. You'll be back. I know. I miss you guys. I love you guys. And, So last week when I talked, it was like he was just not there. Kind of didn't feel like eating anymore. Kind of, you can tell he was giving up. You can tell him the bright light that Joe Nasca used to bring to people. The candle was getting really low, man. And now yesterday, I don't know if I'm frozen here. It seems like I might be frozen. I'm not quite sure here, but he just turned 60. Thank you, Helen. So he was older, a couple months older than me because I'll be 60 in December. And thank you. I know Helen Tenuto tried to reach out yesterday, but I was working. So Helen, thank you for calling Laura because I didn't find out till I got home from work last night. Helen called my wife, and I think Mary Ann, one of his friends, who he went to my wedding with, he came with Mary Ann to my wedding, would be in Laura's wedding. And she called, but I'm thinking, why that woman never calls me. So I'm thinking, I didn't think anything of it. Here I am about to go on stage. So I didn't pick it up. I didn't think anything of it. And I got home and Laura goes, you hear about Joe? I go, Joe what? My wife, Laura. Joe died. I had to take a step back because not Thursday, but Wednesday he was on the show. Said hi guys. He was watching the show. He used to watch the show every day at 12 o'clock. Facebook user these nice words are words from our heart. Um, Joe was just a good guy. We all have our differences. We have our ups and downs and stuff. But Joey to me and Joey people that he loved, he was a good guy. That's all I can say. Is how he treated me, how he was with me, how he was with my wife, how he was with me. That's all I can judge anybody by. I don't care if someone says this guy's a rat or that woman's this or this woman's that or that. You hear people like that all the time. You hear about certain different people. But I can only say in my life how when I meet somebody and the affection stuff that we have for each other, that's the bond that we have, and we all go through that. He was loved and charitable. It's so unfortunate he's gone. Leslie Clark, yes, my dear. You know what? But one thing I have to say about Joe right now, folks, he's not in pain anymore. He's up with his brother Mike, busting each other's chops. His twin brother Mike. And I remember when you're going to laugh because when we first started, when we reintroduced each other, when he seen me at the Chicago Milwaukee Italian Festa Italiana Milwaukee, and we started hanging around again with our crew. And, our choice of alcohol was Jack Daniels. Still is. You guys follow me. You all know that. But the funny thing about it was Joe was never really a big drinker. Never was a big drinker. But then when we'd all go out, the waitresses or the bartenders everywhere we perform at, they'd all know shots of Jack. So here he is, Joe, pounding shots of Jack. And Joe's not a drinker. Never was. So I think that probably made him a little bit more, looser. And some of the laughs that we used to have, and Joe Schmecka's on, and people are on, Buddy's on, and you can't believe, you can't get to understand unless you've had that camaraderie with people. I'm sure most of you have your own little crew. But again, we lost our good friend Joe Naska yesterday at the age of 60 years old. And he was a dear friend. And he was friends to a lot of people. When you're locked up in a hospital bed, you really can't do shit because of your health. It's got to be a horrible feeling. A horrible, lonely feeling that I can't imagine where he was in his head. I mean, I talk to him. We talk once a week, like I said, sometimes twice a week. But you can't picture what this guy's going through in his head. And I mentioned this on the show too. You see people all the time. They're out smiling and they're out shopping and they're drinking at the bar, whatever they're doing. They're hanging out. You see these people. Hey, look at that guy. Look at that girl. But nobody knows what you're suffering inside. Don't think because they're smiling and because everything is fantastic. Like people that are depressed sometimes, if you noticed it, they can't hide being depressed. They can only hide being okay. They can only hide being happy. And Joe wasn't happy for a while. He wasn't happy when he was on his tank, but he still was out. He still got on his hum around and his thing, and he would still go out. He wasn't happy about it. Nobody is when you get to that state in life, when you have to rely on a tank to breathe 24 hours a day. Joe Walker, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Naska was not a smoker. COPD, secondhand smoker. Joe was in those restaurants and the bars. Remember, he owned 2 restaurants. So the smokes every morning, all that grease and all that shit that you're inhaling. I got beginning of COPD, very beginning. Small, but thank God it hasn't got any worse. But we all know Mama D. My Mama D's got it, But he did not smoke. Joe didn't smoke. Mary Tarek, yes, you too, hon. Yeah, how about it? Spike and Joe racing with their brothers on their bikes, yes, on their on their scooters in the alley. Oh, that was fun. Mary, we do all have our demons, you know. Some can handle them better than others. Hi, Gina. I know Gina and from Elmwood Park and Kathy and that whole crew that we all knew Joe. You know, unfortunately, sometimes guys, when people pass away, thank you, Trina. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, all the nice words, Peter Prado. Emil Rocco, thank you so much, Emil, for your kind words. And Emil, who showed up yesterday at Moretti's, and thank you for that, for the float. Emil, you're a true good man, my friend. Thank you for that last night. I do really appreciate that. We're watching Ocean's Pit. Today's show is about our good friend Joe Nasca, who passed away at the age of 60 years old. He just turned 60. And suffering from COPD in a bed for the last 3 years. Like I said, 2018, I seen him come out, and he would come out. He even came out to some place, GameStop or something. Oh, I don't know, some place I played in River Grove where Helen was there. We took a picture of us, three of us together. So maybe 2017. And then when you get stuck in that bed and you can't see your friends and you can't do your life and you can't, it's just mind-boggling. I don't know. And I'm sure everybody that's watching this show or anybody that's have some sort of person in this similar situation, whether it was a loved one, a parent, a friend. My prayers go out to the Nasca family. I private message Carlo. I sent him some pictures. He said that he had these pictures, so I didn't know if he had them or not, but I just wanted to make sure that he had them, of all the pictures of all of us with the group and the guys and stuff. He's definitely going to be missed, folks. He's going to be missed. We're going to miss him every day. So last night after when I got home from work and my wife told me about Joe, I immediately called Sonny. I figured Sonny would know. Dave Corelli, we call him Sonny. He's like a brother to me. And I would call, and I figured he knew, but I didn't hear from Sonny all night. So Sonny had no clue. Sonny's not on Facebook. Sonny doesn't know. Sonny used to go see him all the time because they lived close to each other. He lived up that way. And I go, Sonny. He goes, hey, what's up, brother? What's going on? Because I called him at like 11:30. Usually we don't call each other that late. I just got home from work. And I go, Joe died. Goes, Joe who? Joe Nasca. We never thought Joe would die. You know what I mean? And it crushed him. And if you know Sonny or Dave, if you don't, you see that hard, we come across with this hard edge, a lot of us. But when you hear someone like that, and you almost cry to each other when you're on the phone. And I tossed and turned all night last night. And when I texted Sonny this morning, Sonny said he couldn't sleep all night. He was tossing and turning. We're just thinking about Joe. What's Joe going to say today? Or mostly all the fun times we used to have at Pal Joey's on Wednesdays. If you guys ever were in that crew, folks, I don't even know how we got away with half the shit we did. I heard we had a good time, and we were there for 5 years. So I don't know. I just want to thank you all for watching the show today, and just a couple other things we're going to throw out there, everybody. Next Wednesday we'll be at Are We Live in Burr Ridge. next October 5th. October 6th, we're returning to Zaza's in Lake Barrington. And October 8th, we're returning to Ron Onesti's Club Arcana Speakeasy with the Main Event Band. I want to say our friends, again, prayers to our friends in Florida. Our good buddy Greg Reedy, who I performed with in Florida, and he's on the show, and he's a friend of ours. And folks, he was in Venice, Florida, and they had a little leak in their house on the roof, but everything else was okay. And so they were cleaning up the debris, but thank God. But there was a lot of places that really suffered in Florida. So again, our prayers out to everybody out there. Hopefully the damages, the storm is over with, but now they just got to go back and pick up all the mess and clean up. So I'm glad Kathy and Greg did okay over there and survived. And like I said, they had a little hole in the roof. Thank God that's all it was. But I'm sure other people had a lot more damage out there. I want to say congratulations to my good friend Dick Sayhead. Dick Sayhead, folks, he's running for 4th Ward Alderman in Des Plaines. And his slogan is, say it again, because he's doing it again. Say it again. SAYAD. Dick, congratulations, and I hope you win on that. Be a rock and roll star on stage. Be humble off the stage. Be thankful that people come and hear you and listen, pay to hear you play and sing. Just because it says be a rock and roller on stage doesn't necessarily mean it's just a musician like what I do. Be a rock and roll on stage when it's in your office, when you're going to office, your real estate, selling cars, whatever the hell you're doing. Be that rock and roll, that star. Be humble that people are buying your product. Be humble that people listening to the show. People humble that will come and see me perform for the last 30 years. So being a rock star doesn't make it just because you're in the music entertainment field. Be a rock star with everything you do. How about being a rock star as a teacher? How about being a rock star as a mom, a dad? That's the biggest rock star you can be, a mom or a dad, especially if you're good at it. Ron Shambert, acquaintance, friend of mine who watches the show, had a quote that he said yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to read it because he made the quote with me and Laura were on the show yesterday. He said, of all the people on this planet, we talk to ourselves more than anybody else does. So please make sure you're saying the right things. How many people we all talk to each other in our heads? My wife says sometimes she thinks I answer myself. Depression and in your mind is the worst thing, folks, because like I said, anybody wants to walk a mile in my shoes, it's nothing. Come in 30 seconds into this head, and you can just imagine what that must be like. And it's probably going into your heads too, every single one of you. Right? Walk a mile in our shoes, but who knows what goes on in our heads? You have to be out there. You have to smile. You have to do this. You have to do that. Thank God I'm blessed. I think most of the people that watch my show, and most of the people I know, acquaintances and people, we've been pretty blessed. We have our ups and downs, but we are blessed because we're up every morning. We have a family, God willing. We have good friends. Thank God. We have jobs. We have a roof over our head. We got food in the refrigerator. We got people that love you. I've got a team of people that I'm in love with. My friends, my team, my crew. I'm in love with them. We say love to each other when we get off the phone. Sonny, love you. Dave, love you. Jerry, love you. Tony Toto, love you. Our guys, the band, kiss each other when we see each other. Affection. That's what you have to do. Affection. A text. Great job last night, Jerry. Or hope you're doing well, T. Or this like that. You would be, God, you guys some people have no clue the power of a text or a power of, hey, man, great job. Tap on the shoulder, buddy, blah, blah, blah. So if you've got friends and family and a team like that, man, you are the luckiest woman or man in the whole damn world. I want to wish happy 25th, 4th, and a wedding anniversary to Greg and Jennifer Avadea, folks, from the owners of Taverna on Division. Happy 24 years to a great couple, great people to work for. And I hope you guys are enjoying yourself on your anniversary, Greg and Jennifer out there. Couple things, folks. Another person who watches the show, Tim Sheehan. He works for the Illinois Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Happy birthday, 21st birthday to his two twins, Patrick and Natalie. So happy 21st birthday to them. Pizza Boy Pizza, of course, Carlo and Christina Bertoli. How about we say happy birthday to their daughter, Caramia? Because when she heard me sing Caramia the first time, it's been her favorite. So when their mom and the family come and see me, when I sing the song, they bring Caramia on the phone and she dances and sings along with it. So Caramia, happy birthday to you. The champ, boxing promoter, the great Bobby Hitz, celebrates a birthday today. Champ, happy birthday, Bobby Hitz, everybody. And in the rock and roll world, not too many birthdays today. Mark Bolan, of course, T-Rex, Get It On and more. T-Rex, Mark Bolan, celebrates a birthday today, folks. Again, folks, thank you for tuning in today and listening to the show today as we did our tribute to my good friend Joe Naska. I don't know how much more to say. Some of you, most of the people, I'd say 50% of the people that are watching the show knew Joe or came across Joe or knew something of Joe. And I just thank you for watching the show today. I want you all to have a great week, everybody. Now, leaving town on Sunday, Port Washington, we're going camping, me and my buddy Carlos. So camping, little fishing, and I'll be doing my live remote from my laptop there. So I will be checking in on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Won't be full shows. We won't be in the studio. But we will be checking in and see if we caught anything and see what the weather's like. You know how much I love camping. And I used to camp twice a year with my good friend George Tarkin, one of my very best friends who passed away. Mary Tarkin, his widow, is watches our show and our friend. The times I had with George is unbelievable. We had some great times. There's another true friend that I truly, truly miss every day. Still do. And Joe Naska be the same way. And going camping with my buddy Carlo this time and fishing, it's going to be different because we've never done it before. But we both like camping and fishing, you know. Not many people do. Not many people like. But me and George just sleep in a tent. Tents. That's pretty cool. But Carlo's got a camper, so heated mattress and all that shit. So it's going to be a little easier. But it'll be difficult this year, the first time doing it without looking over and seeing George, you know, and fishing. And anyway, I thank you again for watching the show today. We want to thank our last sponsor, of course, one of my brothers, of course, that we always, I'm talking about a team, that Patriot Funding Incorporated, Dave Antonelli and his family. Very close to me. Commercial money lending at its finest. When timing is everything, call Patriot Funding Incorporated out of Roselle, Illinois, 630-675-4730. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we'll be at Chicago Prime Steakhouse with Jerry Jams Renda. And tomorrow we'll be with my new rock band. It's the members of the Average Joe Band, members of FOCO, members of Mistaken Identity, members of American English. We all got together and we're playing some great 60s and 70s, 80s rock and roll. And the band is called Mojo's Jukebox. We'll be at the Broken Oar. That's tomorrow, 2 to 6 in the afternoon, rocking with the hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then 8 o'clock at night, I'm hooking back up with Jerry Jams to 11. We'll be at Lucky Lulu's in Prairie Grove, Illinois. That's an 8 o'clock hit. And our next live remote, folks, is going to be Thursday, October 13th. We'll be at Moretti's in Hoffman Estates. A live remote, me and my lovely wife, Laura. You know, we go out and do these live remotes. So you could be part of that, folks. Come on down to Moretti's in Hoffman Estates, Thursday, October 13th, 12 o'clock noon. Free pizza. Free pizza to everybody that comes there, not to take home, to eat while you're there. Free pizza to everybody that comes and be part of the live audience. That's Thursday, October 13th. Me and my wife, Laura Ocean, will be at Moretti's in Hoffman Estates. Now, our guest is going to be CEO from A La Carte Entertainment, Fred Hoffman, will be our guest talking about all the Moretti's restaurants and stuff like that. So hope you guys can join us for the live remote. Thank you again, everybody, for watching the show. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for your texts and your phone calls. And I'm very fortunate to have good people like friends and acquaintances and people that watch the show every day. And it's like a family. We really are. I mean, I don't know everybody that well, but you touched my heart. And I hope I can touch a little bit of your heart when you watch the show. Whether you laugh at me or you laugh with me or you think I'm an idiot, that's fine. Because you know what? I wear my heart on my sleeve, and this is what it is. And especially when I'm with my wife, it's almost like, Archie Bunker and Edith. If you remember, Archie was always the loud one, but Edith was always the smart one. And Edith would always be the one that would say something and would be the only one to get Archie to shut up. It's almost like Jackie Gleason and Audrey Meadows, Alice, and it would be the same thing as Sonny and Cher. Sonny would be the boat of the jokes. Cher would be it, but that's why I get along. That's me and my wife have a good show on Thursdays. I seem that you guys like it a lot more too. I'd love to get her on more, but she works. We're trying to work on getting some other stuff here. So, but anyway, it's come to the end of the day. And again, I want to thank you for watching the show. And my prayers again go out to Carlo and the Nasca family. And I'm sure he's up in, Joe Nasca's up in heaven with his brother, Spike, his twin brother. And they're celebrating right now, giving each other shit, I'm sure. Thank you for watching the show. As Danny Mazzi would say, our good friend from Armando's grocery stores in Chicago. Buy local, shop local. Thank you for supporting live entertainment and local establishments. And the great words of Ringo Starr, peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you so much, folks. Be kind to everybody as much as you can, folks. Not just because someone passed away. Try to be kind all the time. Have a great day, folks. Have a great weekend. Next time you'll see me, I'll be coming in live from Port Washington, Wisconsin. So we'll be tuning in on Monday. Mama D, I miss you. I love you. Joe up in heaven, I love you. Joe Nasca, 60 years old, passed yesterday. Love you all, folks. Have a great day. God bless you.